Bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureux d'avoir un événement international à Paris après Vivatech que l'on va pouvoir faire en français. Ça vous convient à tout le monde?
Oui.
Very good.
Très bien.
Ok.
Especially for you.
Alors on y va. Ok. I think I will switch to English. But truly, I'm really happy to see more and more international events happening in Paris. And actually, during Vivatech, I met a foreign investor who told me very naturally, now the cities that count in Europe, Berlin, London, and obviously Paris. And for him, it was obvious. I can tell you, having been in this industry for close to 30 years, it was definitely not obvious 20 years ago. So it's a change. Today, we're going to attempt at something almost impossible. We're going to do a true live demo during our time. Thomas, here, is going to install ARTESCA with Veeam in front of your eyes from scratch.
Wait.
Okay? All vendors tell you that their software can be deployed in 15 minutes, okay? And obviously you believe every vendor, okay? We're going to try to prove it. It's a demo.
Sure.
Please be gentle if we have a demo effect, but at least we're trying it. Meanwhile, and in parallel, I'll be giving you a quick market update and company update. We'll talk about our news of the day, really published yesterday, ARTESCA 3.0. We're incredibly excited about our third major release of ARTESCA. And then Erwan here will present Ring strategy, where we also have a lot of news. I realize that some of you may be less familiar than others on Scality. Please go back to our website. I'll just say a couple words about Scality. We're a software company, so in this world where pretty much everyone's becoming SaaS, we are now selling based on subscription, but we are still a software company. And our software is used essentially for two things. It's used by people who want to build cloud, whether these are public cloud or private cloud, and our software is mostly also used for backup. I'll come back to that. So with this, I'm going to pass the floor to Thomas, who's going to start the demo. Every time we switch to the demo, we need to switch computer and restart the TV. Hopefully, we're going to do this swiftly.
So hello everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. Hello everyone. So I'm Thomas. Thank you, Jérôme, for the introduction. So I'm not going to do something extraordinary, but very simple, which is to deploy ARTESCA. So ARTESCA is our new product that we use in integration with several applications and mainly Veeam. So today I'm going to show you how to deploy it in the context of Veeam. So as a storage backend for a primary repository for the Veeam application. So ARTESCA comes directly with the operating system. So you don't have to care about deploying the operating system and maintaining it. It's all included in the system. And here we're starting from a Veeam server, which is obviously connected and integrated from a network point of view with ARTESCA. And I'm going to show you how we do the deployment. So it's not yet UI-based type of deployment, but you're going to see that it's still very simple to execute. So the first time you connect to the ARTESCA console, so as you can see, we do not connect as root because there is no way to connect as root on the system. So it's a security measure that we put in place. So we connect for the first time with a default password, which is Scality, and obviously as a security measure, we ask the user to change it. So I'm going to change it with a new password. Okay. Sorry. and then I can reconnect with that new password. Okay, so once I'm here in the operating system, everything is included. All the packages are already there. The installer is already there. So the only thing I have to do is to follow the documentation, and it starts with a very simple command that will configure the installation for the specific server on which we are deploying and for the specific application for which we are deploying ARTESCA. So I'm launching this very simple command, and it will ask me several questions. And you will see that the number of questions we are asking to the user are very limited and simple. So first, I need to choose about the architecture, single node, 3 nodes, or 6 nodes. So in my case, I'm on a single node. Then I need to choose about the server density. So today we can deploy ARTESCA on many type of servers, including, for example, the Aletra 4140, which is very dense server with 84 bay drives. So you can start with 50 terabyte and go up to 8.5 petabyte today, maybe 11 petabyte tomorrow when we will have 32 terabyte drives. So I'm going to choose my profile. So here I'm using a demo profile. And then I'm going to have, I will be asked about the ISV for which I'm deploying ARTESCA. So why we are asking this? Because the software configuration is optimized for each and every ASV for which we are deploying. So, and you're going to see that it's optimized in terms of configuration, but also in terms of UI. The UI will be adapted to the specific application for which you're deploying. So in our case, we're going to deploy for the Veeam use case, for the Veeam application, sorry. And then the only question you need to answer is about the network. So obviously you need to say on which network Veeam and ARTESCA will communicate together. So I'm gonna put a specific subnet, which is the one to use in our context. And I've also asked about what we call the control plane network. So I have the ability to segregate the traffic, the data traffic between the Veeam application and ARTESCA, and the management traffic to operate and to configure the platform. So in our case, we're going to use the same. Last thing is to configure on which IP I want to expose the management UI. So I have the IP somewhere here. Okay, I'm going to copy paste it.
Will you be adding cohesivity? Let's deploy the partner.
We will. We are working on it. We already have some. So actually, maybe I forgot to say that. Here you see, we have the generic for all other applications, for Veeam, Zerto, and Compute. We have optimized configuration for deploying the product. But we can still use the product with other applications such as Cohesity using the generic profile, and we will have a standard configuration for those type of applications. But we are working on building those optimized configuration. So last thing is to put what we call the subdomain name, typically to indicate which host name will be used to access the different endpoints exposed by ARTESCA. So I'm going to use a S3 communication here. Last thing is how many drives you have on your server. So you can deploy on a very big, very dense server, but you can start with only 12 drives. Okay, so here I'm going to say how many drives I have. So
sorry, the number of drives is because of the parity unit.
So the number of drives, it's actually the minimum number of drives to deploy ARTESCA is 12 today. We are working on making it less.
No, that's for the parity in the rig.
And that's for protecting the data across all the different drives, indeed.
Because on the network.
So in my case, 12 drives. And what we see here is the installer is discovering everything. It's discovering automatically all the drives on the system. So all the data drives, but also what we call the service disk, which is a flash drive, the metadata drive on which we're going to store all the metadata databases on which we need very fast access. So everything is discovered automatically. And the last thing I have is what is my administrator user. I can define it by hand, or I can use the default one, which is Scality. And that's it. I mean, my installation is configured, and now I can really start the installation of the software. So this is what I'm going to do by executing the order command, which is in the documentation. So the documentation explains all other advanced parameters that we don't need to use in the majority of the cases. And here's the deployment command that we use. So maybe one thing I didn't say is here I'm demonstrating how to deploy the system on a 1-node cluster, but the experience would be exactly the same if it was a 3-node cluster or a 6-node cluster. Only more IPs input will be asked to the user, but it's exactly the same process. So I'm launching it, and the installation, we are doing ARTESCA installation several times a day. We are having 2-3 installation of ARTESCA every day, and we never have issues. It's very predictable, so I can tell you that this installation will finish in around 50 to 60 minutes, and at that time I will show you how to finish the configuration to integrate it with Veeam.
I have an idea to make all of this automated and graphic.
Yes, it's definitely our target. We are not there yet, but as you can see, it's still very simple.
Yeah. But I knew also the level after the IT schools. So that's why I asked you that.
It's our target.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. I will say that to our surprise, even people who are used to Windows environment and really don't know anything in it, they actually can handle this. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's our experience. I mean, we now have hundreds of customers. They do this by themselves. They do software upgrade by themselves, and it's working. It's okay. But yes, we would like all this to be graphical, to be much nicer. So, Thomas, for the game here, you're not allowed to type anything on this keyboard without us seeing it.
No.
And whenever it's ready, you interrupt us and you come back to show us what's happening.
Yeah, I don't even have to look at the screen because I know it's going to be ready in 60 minutes or so.
But we leave at 5 p.m.
Start these.
You said 1 hour.
So 1 node, but you start on the node that they start.
Yes, if it was a 6-node, if it was a 6-node cluster,
We start from 1.
I would have done the same from this.
Because in Ring you have a machine that the controller or
Provided.
is the control the console is inside.
It's inside one of the nodes of the cluster.
And in Ring you need the installation is handled by some and people. What is about ARTESCA? He is the customer that can do
So
installation.
yeah, so for ARTESCA, we really rely on our partners to do the installation. So we have periodic trainings for our partners, but it's 2 hours, 3 hours training. They learn how to deploy this, and then they do the deployment by themselves. And we even have some customers doing it by themselves as well. So I'm switching off the cable
To the menu station. But best case will.
and I don't touch the
It's caustic. Does it and really makes some.
Okay, so I'd like to give you a little bit of a company update. First of all, we continue growing really nicely, about 20% growth a year. And we also became profitable, which is a real life changer for the CEO of the company. It's just a completely different phase. We're introducing new countries. We're building a team in India where we won some large government contracts, in Korea. We also have recruited a team there. We already have two of the very large enterprise in Korea, two Global 2000 companies that are based in Korea as customers already. So these are our two focus countries for this year. We have customers in over 60 countries, so we really present many countries in the world, and we have staff in 12 countries. We're a truly global company. As part of being,
Sorry to interrupt you. So you told us that you're profitable now, right? Are you thinking about going public?
I think the first time I said publicly that I wanted Scality to be public was in 2015. So now I'm a little bit calmer about making predictions on this level. I've learned a lot. Going public is really the combination of multiple factors. You need the company to be profitable and ready. I think that we're there. We're audited, our accounts are audited by EY, our internal processes, our public level processes. We're doing ISO 27001 certification this year, which also pushes our processes to be closer to public market processes. So one thing is having the company be ready. Another thing is having what they call a market window for public offering in the public market. And the rules of this game have been changing over the years. And now public markets expect larger and larger companies.
Okay.
Tech IPOs on European markets have not been so great in the past few years. So yes, it's still my desire. I'm not going to make any more prediction at this point. I just learned too much.
Fair enough.
Yes.
This development in Asia is when Scality begins, one of the first customers was a big telco in Japan, if I remember.
That's correct. SoftBank still a customer. 9 years without any outage. Can you imagine serving 50 million users? 9 years, zero outage. Yes.
And today it's also to expand on this zone because there is more traction there, or it's because in fact you cover it with help of the ramping up of HP.
So, first of all, when things are far away, we see them as just one big thing, but the reality in Asia is very different than that. So, we're talking about Asia Pacific, and I see at least 4 different zones. So we're still very strong in Japan. We've got a team of 10 people. We've got SoftBank. We also have the number 2 KDDI there. We also have the largest media streaming company with DMM. We have AIST, who's pretty much the equivalent of the CNRS in Japan. We've got large banks. We still have a very strong foothold in Japan. We also have very strong presence in Australia, covering Australia and New Zealand, which we take as part of, from a US view of the world, is part of Asia Pacific. And then you've got Korea, which is its own thing. And then we have what we call Southeast Asia with Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, which is sort of so in Japan, we have our own strength on the market, we believe, and that's what IDC tells us, that we're the market leader for object storage in Japan in terms of quantity of sales and deployment. The other countries, indeed, we're still very tied to HP, although I'm going to talk about it later on this slide. We're developing our own VAR channel, and that's also true in Asia, especially in Korea, where we have several VARs that we transact with through distributors that are not HP.
And it will be more a ring or an ARTESCA strategy there?
It's really both. Give me a second, I will respond better. As part of being more global, I decided to appoint a CEO for the US market. The US market is still the largest market in the world. It's definitely the largest market for Scality. It's also our largest revenue contributor in terms of country. So there's now Peter Brennan, who's CEO US. I remain the CEO worldwide. So Peter is at the same time Chief Revenue Officer for the full world and CEO for our US subsidiary. Peter is extremely well connected in the US, and that gives us more of a local footprint in the US market, which again is the largest market in the world. We have 2 products. In all honesty, it did take us a few years to really figure out how these 2 products are differentiated from a product strategy standpoint, from a go-to-market standpoint. If you read last year's Gartner's Magic Quadrant report, it was extremely positive about Scality, rated us again as a leader in the worldwide market. But the one caveat that Gartner said is it can be confusing for customers to understand where is Ring and where is ARTESCA. And we took that at heart, and we worked hard. I think that we have it. Okay, so Ring is really for anyone who wants to build either public or private cloud, essentially a large-scale cloud infrastructure. And sometimes customers don't call it cloud infrastructure, but in a sense, that's what it is. It's really the best technology on the market if you're going to have many applications targeting the same object storage. And we can handle a mixed variety on workloads, and everyone will talk more about it later, on the same cluster. Some of our customers are also deploying very large clusters for one application that's very demanding. So we have a 2 times 80 petabyte cluster running Storm, for example. So when you're at that scale, you're not necessarily running multiple applications. We have customers doing more and more very large data lake. I'm talking over 100 petabyte data lakes. For example, I can talk about this probably. We're powering the storage for the new satellite images for CNES, where we have a ring that's about 70 petabyte, and then we have also transition of that data to tape with the management of the data on tape. Okay, so that's for the SWOT program. The SWOT program is the satellites that measure the level of water everywhere in the world to see how climate change is affecting water reserve around the world. So we have a number of customers that are deploying to one application at that very large scale. But at the end of the day, Ring is really for ultra large, very demanding, extremely high reliability customers. When they deploy Ring, we see a very low churn, typically below 4% a year churn. The company is 15 years old, so it's difficult to do stats over 15 years, but definitely in average, customers that deploy Ring deploy it for at least 15 years. Okay, we see that. And typically SoftBank has been in production for 9 years. They also change software version very rarely, which is a challenge for us because we need to be very careful what we bring. And SoftBank is discussing the next generation architecture with us because they'd like to introduce some new things. But I mean, as far as I can tell, we're going to be another 10 years with SoftBank.
I should think that 70 petabytes is a bit sticky.
So that's Ring, okay? And Ring is sold obviously with the help of our salespeople. We know every customer, and Ring is still today mainly distributed by HPs. Okay, they are our main distributor.
Sure.
And then sure. Yes.
Always for secondary storage or?
No, we have a lot of primary storage. Like everything we do on email is primary storage. Yeah. In terms of performance, we're definitely not a block storage, so we cannot reach sub-millisecond latency. That's not possible. But if you're thinking of a primary storage that can work at 10 millisecond latency, which pretty much any application that faces a human can work at 10 millisecond latency because humans cannot notice 10 milliseconds. I mean, it's as easy as that. And if you think about where we come from, it was designed for this. The technology was initially designed as a store for humans. That's really how it was designed. So email is a great example.
Document management?
Huh?
Document management?
Yeah, we have
It's a trend.
we have several customers that manage very large document store, but also in the research department. So one of our customers is Sequoia Genomic Institute in France. They do, so their deployment is very interesting. They have about 1 petabyte of vast data for high performance processing of the genomic data that comes from the Illumina machine. And then the post-process data stays on a Scality RING. They have about 10 petabytes of Scality RING. And the RING is where the researchers are going to work. So it's still primary storage because it faces directly the researchers. It's just not the very high performance computing. So that's the reason. It's a very healthy business. We're seeing deals that are bigger and bigger. And now we currently have 7 customer pursuits that are at exabyte level. And then ARTESCA. ARTESCA is a completely different animal. It's for people who just want an object store. They don't need all the frills. They don't need the multi-site. They don't need the multi-tenancy. They just need an object store. And if you remember when we launched ARTESCA, we had in mind 3 different markets. We've simplified that. We realized that the biggest need for just having an object store nowadays is for backup. And you're right, Chris, cohesity is amongst. So we have tremendous success with Veeam, because Veeam launched their V12 version that is designed to target an object store. So we're incredibly successful with Veeam, but we work very well also with the others, especially Rubrik, Citera, Zerto. We have a few successes. Cohesity, we already have deployments, even if we don't have it directly on the interface. ARTESCA is distributed by HP, but HP is not our main distributor. We signed 3 distribution agreements with ROTD Synex, and Ingram Micro, which are the 3 largest worldwide distributors in the IT world. And we're building a very large network of VAR. We tripled our channel people from year over year. So we really tripled our investment in the VAR. And through our distributors, we go to the VAR, but that doesn't go for HP. So to the question of Bertrand earlier, when we're in Korea, we work with HP on ring sales, and we have some very large pursuits. I mean, you can imagine the large companies that have a lot of data in Korea. I don't even need to name them. But we also work directly through our distributors with smaller VARs. There's Dongkook, there's Yota, there's a few of them over there that focus on ARTESCA sales. So we really have both, but they're selling different things in different contexts. ARTESCA is really a big market product, although interestingly enough, our very large ring customers, like the banks, many of them have already bought multiple ARTESCAs for deployment in branch offices. And we're seeing this more and more. We had an order in Germany where the customer bought 12 ARTESCA at once for 12 branch offices, as an example. Okay, so is it more clear the difference between Ring and ARTESCA? Do you think we're going to pass the Gartner test this year? We shall see. Yeah, go ahead.
You seem to be very customer focused. That's a good story.
Is that bad?
That's a great story. But well, if you go private, if you go public, is there a risk that this relationship might be damaged because you'll lose some control of the company to the stock market and to, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
So okay.
I personally, I really don't think so.
Yeah. It's just I like private companies because they seem to be.
No, I will give you an example of a French company where the CEO found the deal and lose control. It's like Race. I know that man pretty well. I've discussed several times with him. The price of the stock has been really taken down by the stock market. He absolutely doesn't care. He drives his company where it should go. Being public brings him a bigger image in the US market, so it's helping his sales. It doesn't change his strategy at all because he's very clear that he's not driving on the stock price, he's driving for the long-term vision of the company. So it's absolutely possible. But, you know, I would say it's a little bit the responsibility of the CEO and how the CEO assembles the board.
Oh, I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure some CEOs do it well. So, yes.
We shall see. Okay, the next slide, I'd like to show it to you so you understand the breadth of Ring deployments. It's under NDA. Please do not take pictures. And for the camera, yeah.
Before you show that and just link to what you're talking about, channel expansion, are you actually looking for more partners, managed service providers, other VARs, etc.? Are you looking?
Yes, the answer is actually yes.
And what territories?
Send them our way.
What territories are you targeting?
The world. No, I'm serious.
But where are you weak, where you want to expand? In Europe?
No, look, in Europe, so in terms of VARs, we're really looking for VARs everywhere. Even in France, where we are really strong, we would like to have more VARs. Where we have a specific program for the Veeam service providers. You know that Veeam is very strong with service providers. We actually have a specific program targeting the Veeam service providers. We want more. So, and which countries? I mean, I tell you, even in France, where we're strong, we want more. In Germany, we have a team Switzerland, in Spain, UK, everywhere, and for countries outside of France. I mean, we're truly everywhere in the world. We actually have a distributor in Kazakhstan. I mentioned Kazakhstan just because I think of it. I cannot name all the places where we have local distributors.
What about China?
So, not in China. I went in China in 2018, and I reconsidered China about 1 year ago. I think that the combination of the market and the company were not yet mature for each other. I'm not saying China is impossible, but it's pretty costly to enter a country. I mean, basically, I need to be able to set $1 million aside for each country we enter. And I expect China to be even more costly. And when we made decision, for example, we decided right now to put our bets on India and Korea rather than China.
Soon, fear always.
Oh yeah, I'm being reminded that I can talk for hours. Okay, so this one's on the NDA.
Jerome, it's under permanent NDA,
Yes, yes, please, no publishing of this slide.
If we get in touch with you guys about something else to do with Scality that has an embargo and gets lifted, it's not about this. This is under permanent NDA.
Permanent.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I just wanted you to have an idea of the kind of companies we have. Okay, you see the logo. We have 5 of the top 15 banks in the world, and when I say that they work with us, I mean it's very fundamental to their business. Okay, if it stops, a part of their activity stops. I mean, we've got some of the largest hospital system in multiple countries, including in France and in the US, where we have the largest hospital systems, some of the largest radiology systems in some countries. In public sectors, we've got police, defense, or justice in 24 different countries. We've got many of the largest telco operators all around the world, US, like Sweden, Australia, Japan, I mean, pretty much all around the world. We've got a lot of cloud services, whether these are B2B cloud services. These are typically competitors to Amazon in one way or another, or B2C cloud services. Cloud is actually 40% of our revenue, so where we power public cloud services, public sector is 30%, and enterprise, very large enterprise at 30%. That's just Ring. I'm going to quit that slide to answer the next question.
Excuse me, just a question on the cloud part. When you say cloud, it's acting as MSPs of your product.
They use our product,
They
they
resell?
deploy a cloud service, and they sell a cloud service.
Okay, so as MSP,
Yes,
not as user.
correct.
But good question, Jerome. The slide is under NDA, but what about the names? Could these guys make
No.
notes of the names?
Only the ones I said verbally.
Some are publics.
The ones I said verbally are all public, and you can go on our website where we have about 30 public, yeah.
Everyone happy? Would you like Jerome to repeat some of the names that are public? No, just me? Okay.
We've got about 30 public references on our website. Okay, these numbers, I'm not going to go through them, but what this is meant to say is, in terms of size, scope, performance, we're very comparable to AWS actually. So not us, but the sum of our customers is on that magnitude of scale. Okay, it's exabytes and exabytes of data. In terms of performance, because someone asked us about performance earlier, we can be tier 1. There's a customer here doing 60,000 operations per second. And these are not IOPS, these are S3 operations. Instead, they are fully authenticated, it's data back to the application. Yes,
I imagine that most of these biggest customers have got subsidiaries and whatever. Do you have already some projects with ARTESCA and subsidiaries, Ring at the etc., but connected by Zenco?
Negative. First of all, we took Zenco out of the market as a product. We still use the technology, and that technology is used for tiering to a lower tier of storage. So this is the technology that's used at CNES for copying data to tape. It's also used at the National Library of Netherlands for copying data to Azure Cold Tier. What's the name of the Azure Cold Tier? Azure Cold Tier.
No, there could be a bridge between
ARTESCA and to Jérôme's point, in fact, we don't need Zenko as a bridge. Zenko is embedded within our products. So the transitioning of the data, replication of data from the edge to the core is built in ARTESCA.
Okay.
So we don't need to have a third-party component just to do this.
So Zenko is more a pipeline to absorb, to collect data from another S3 compatible domain.
Okay, just quickly, market update. So this is what I was saying in 2021 at Tech Live. I have not changed my mind, and the market is catching up with what I said. Okay, so I said nothing will change in the next 2 years. People will all be about cloud. That's been true. We're now in 24, and I said within 5 years we'll see software-defined infrastructure skills to be widespread, meaning Kubernetes. Well, you're seeing a lot of traction on Kubernetes this year in 2024, especially after the Broadcom acquisition of VMware. Edge plays a more and more significant role, making 100% public cloud impossible. All our largest customers now tell us that they will not be 100% public cloud. Large size and mid-size enterprise will realize they need more control over their IT. This is why ARTESCA is having so much success, where many people are saying, I want one backup on-prem, and yes, I will put a second backup in the cloud. So this is really what we're saying. Subscription model is here to stay. Obviously, you've seen VMware transition to subscription. We've transitioned to subscription as well. Today, 80% of Scality revenue is subscription revenue, although we're deployed on-prem. Meanwhile, data is growing. I didn't forecast so much of a Gen AI hype, but definitely it's more valuable and it's cheap to store data. So I stand by what I said a few years ago. A few comments. So we're seeing very healthy growth in object storage, pushed by regional public cloud. We see more and more of this, and not just here in Europe, all around the world, including US. Cloud repatriation is becoming real. AI data lake, obviously, backup and archive and edge. And one thing I really want to insist, you may have seen, we published a few blog posts last summer. We believe that HDD is here to stay. It's still way cheaper than solid state memory. And more importantly, there's no obvious energy advantage to SSD. And we did detailed study there. Even QLC has a pretty high energy cost of keeping the data. So we're going to see a mix. It's going to take a few years. There are still vendors out there saying that hard drive is dead. We do not believe that. And we're reviewing this very thoroughly. And by the way, we also think that tape is not dead. Okay, and we have very large tape deployments. I mean, over 100 petabytes. Okay, how's the demo going, Mr. Thomas?
I'm not even thinking about that.
It's ramped up.
After the lunch.
It's progressing as
It's progressing as planned. Okay, Mr. Thomas, come back to us when we're ready. So I'm going to go really fast because I took way too much time on the introduction, but at the same time, this was the CEO talk. I'd like to talk about ARTESCA 3.0. You obviously all read the press release, which was issued yesterday. We're incredibly excited. I have a very strong belief that security is about simplicity. And we spent a lot of time over the past couple of years discussing with the various national security institutions in France, in Germany, in the US, about their view of security. And what they're saying is there's a lot of hype around security products, but at the end of the day, it's all about how the companies actually deploy these products. And if the products are complex, or if the products demand too much from the end user, if it's too difficult to use, the end users will always find a different way of doing things that circumvents the security. So hospital is a big market of ours, and I was at the hospital conference a few days ago where one of the CIO of the hospital described to me a situation where a doctor complained very strongly that he could not access his data, a surgeon, for his surgery the next day. So the IT department wants to help, discovers that the data is actually stored on his personal Google Drive, and that's what he cannot access. Okay, that's the reality of the world when you put too much security into people's circumvent. So for ARTESCA, all our thinking has been, how can we create something that's ultra secure to store the backups and yet simple to use? Okay, and that's what you've seen in the demo. It's not yet a graphical user interface, but it really just answers the question. We've included the OS, so ARTESCA, contrary to Ring, comes with its own OS because it allows us to control the OS, to remove all the packages that are not necessary, to make the OS footprint as little as possible, and to remove any privilege. Only the ARTESCA user interface can access the OS. There's no root access on the OS anymore. And that allows us to deliver more security with simplicity. So that's really the philosophy of what ARTESCA is. So essentially 4 things we're bringing with ARTESCA 3.0, more end-to-end cyber resiliency, really strong integration with Veeam, and we also have now validated what's called Veeam Ready Repository for fast restore, and I'll give you some numbers in a minute. And because hard drives have increased capacity, we now can deliver 8.7 petabyte of usable data in 6 nodes, which honestly is already really large. People are telling me, well, I start at 50 terabyte, can I grow infinitely? No, you cannot grow infinitely, but honestly, people who start at 50 terabyte, they're not going to grow to 8 petabyte. That's not real life.
It's linear. If I've got two clusters of 6, that means that I've got 15 effort.
Yeah. And by the way, Veeam in their V12, they can manage having multiple independent clusters. So the truth is, with Veeam, you're really unlimited.
Perfect.
We did a survey. 94% of leaders use immutable storage. You know, immutable storage is it's what we used to call WAR. I don't know why they renamed it, but pretty much immutable and WAR are the same thing in terms of what it delivers.
Soft immutable that is not exactly the warm.
It's been
Soft immutable, as you said in the previous slide, if you don't make some hardening about the infrastructure, is something that...
And I know, but NetApp and Isilon is also soft. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, you change the name, why? Okay, but I think that AWS wanted to have its own name.
Because it's an old word and they want to be in this.
Yeah, but okay, so we understand what we're talking about here. And obviously increase in ransomware payments last year. That's what we want to solve, okay? So what we realize is immutability is great, but it's not enough. And that's why we introduced the concept of Core 5 resiliency, and we really believe that the architecture has to be resilient at the API data, the storage, the geographic, and the architecture level. And we really do security by design at each of these levels to deliver a product that's really turnkey, yet protected at each of these levels. And obviously some of our competitors are, making big noise with essentially what is RIG technology and some immutability. We believe that we go way beyond. So you all know that. I'm not going to spend time, but there's multiple vectors of attacks. Hackers are really sophisticated, and being a ransomware player is a money-making activity. Okay, they do this for money, and so they can invest in research. They use AI to be smarter. We're facing entities that make money out of it. So it's a constant shopping. So our Core 5, there's API resilience, obviously with the object lock, with supporting the V12 direct to object. There's a data level where data is obviously encrypted. It's ES 256 encryption. We configure automatically as part of what Thomas is doing actively. You see Thomas being very active here installing ARTESCA. We have automated firewall rules. We use obviously secure HTTPS. We absolutely enforce multi-factor authentication everywhere. So it's just not possible to log in the software without multi-factor, which is very strong protection against basic attacks and social engineering. We know that most attacks start with social engineering. We've got storage resilience. So remember that on ARTESCA we have dual level erasure coding. So we have erasure coding local to each machine and between the nodes. So we can do local repair and we can do repair over the network. So with the concept of dual erasure coding, obviously, yeah, data stored encrypted. We support geographic resilience with replication. So ARTESCA supports CR, so you can replicate data to a different data center to avoid what happens if you lose a data center or if one of the data center is broken into or put in fire. And then you've got architecture level resilience, where we harden the OS. We do a lot of work on the OS to limit any exploiting. So really 5 levels of design where we really work with security specialists, with the agencies to make the product ultra resilient. And that's what we call core 5 levels of cyber resiliency.
Jérôme, it really sounds great that you go more and more in the security, cyber resilience space.
Maybe you're a security target focused journalist.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would like to know just, what is currently the current of your sales revenue, about the security setting, and what do you expect with ARTESCA?
It's very hard to answer because customers don't come and say, I'm going to buy security. They say, I'm going to buy a secure storage. So I can answer. What I can tell you is that right now, it's about 30% of our engineering that work on security.
Okay.
So it's a very, very big investment and focus on the company.
And I will relate to that in the ring.
Okay. Sorry.
And I will relate to that in the ring, and you will see that on both ARTESCA and on the ring, features are great, more performance are great, but the foundation is security, because as Jérôme was saying, our customers are really counting on our products for the day-to-day business. So really you'll see in the ring presentation also.
Great. Thank you. So I talked about that. Oh yeah, we completely integrated Active Directory support because when you talk about login, better to integrate. We work with the Center for Internet Security and their standard OpenSCAP, where we scan the software and we check how we're OpenSCAP compatible. We talked about the OS. We deliver to our customers a software bill of material. That's some request. It actually stems from Executive Order 14028 from the US. That's part of what's mandatory now. And we obviously scan continuously for CVEs and just check any CVE that may appear on the components that we enter. We're really designed in conformance with the Zero Trust architecture as described in the US Executive Order. And by the way, I think that this has a really big impact on the IT industry and is a very positive move from the US president. And obviously we enforce authentication and end-to-end encryption. Talking about Veeam, we do a lot of work with Veeam. The two companies work incredibly well together. When we talk about Veeam, we sometimes forget that it's really 3 different products. There's Veeam Backup and Recovery, Veeam for Microsoft 365, which is getting great traction. We love this, and we see a lot of sales around that. And Veeam Custom for containers and Kubernetes, and we're also seeing traction there, but maybe a little bit earlier, but still growing. And we have a number of integration points, and we continue working with Veeam engineering as doing cool.
What's the impact of your partnership with Veeam on the middle market or low market?
Veeam as a partner is the majority of ARTESCA revenue. More than 50% of our revenue on ARTESCA is with Veeam. So it's very significant. We are platinum sponsor at Veeam on next week. And we work with Veeam in many, many geographies where we know the managing director locally, we know the teams locally. So for them, so think about it from their standpoint. They launched Veeam V12 to be compatible with object storage. Their real intention was to be more compatible with AWS as they're pushing their own cloud strategy. But as a side effect, they're compatible with all the object storage in the market. There's actually not that many object storage vendors that respond very well to Veeam strategy. Veeam strategy has always been to be extremely simple and to be focused primarily on the mid-market. So think about who's out there and do that from the object storage perspective first. There's only one. Two. There's object first and Scality, but there's only two. Okay. And so from their perspective, well, for sure, they work a lot with object first and Scality. It just makes sense. Okay. Fast restore, we're really happy. So you can store 5,000 VMs in 5 hours, or incremental 250 VM, full backup in 5 hours. But the most important things is we can restore over 1,000 VMs per day. Okay, and I will tell you in customer conversation, that's this number that comes. Okay, that's the number we ask about. This is on servers that have SSDs for the data or NVMe for the data and hard drives. On full flash, we can go even faster than that. So we also have numbers in full flash. Our experience right now is even when customers come to us and ask for very high restore performance, that is sufficient to them. So while other vendors are claiming that you need full flash for fast restore, we're saying you can absolutely deploy ARTESCA on full flash. What is the performance you need? And it's very rare that the request is beyond. Okay, this is for a 3-node cluster. Obviously, if you have more capacity and a 6-node cluster, you're going to have even a higher number, and you get into the multiple thousand per day, which in our experience is sufficient for most customers.
Do you think we'd be able to expand that side Veeam? We start competing with technicality. Did you can backup targets
like data domain? Yes. Yes, absolutely. We are already. We are replacing data domain.
You cannot do those number of restore with data domain.
I know.
For the issue of
I know.
that rate, make the replacement.
If I may, Jérôme, just to put some context on the 1,100 VMs, it's a huge number. I mean, we have as a customer the biggest medical infrastructure in the US, and when we are talking backup with them, we are talking of a few thousands of VMs. So when we say here 1,100 VM, it's not like the shop at the corner of the next street here. It's already a very, very significant number, and it's running only on a 3-node ARTESCA with drives. So it's really key for us to push on that, because it shows that ARTESCA as it is, with the 3-node ring, with the 3-node ARTESCA, sorry, with the can deliver the amount of performance that is already extremely significant for medium-sized to big-sized companies on the market, because 1,000 VM is already something extremely significant to them.
Obviously, you can hear we're very proud of our technology.
You deserve it.
Okay, I'll take that question, but we need to move on.
Just can you process the backups independently for things like validating data or perhaps doing large aggregations and so on? It seems there's a chance to share the load, reduce the release backup for mainframe databases. It's used to run the verifications again.
Yeah. So at this point, we're really a storage for the backup vendors, and we're discussing with them doing more. But the truth is, for now, the backup vendors would like us to just be a storage. So we've offered to do more, but that's what the backup vendors want. And for us, the best is to be well integrated with Macker. Okay, we introduced a real appliance, physical appliance. We realized that in the mid-market, there are people who just want to buy a machine. It's actually even more than the customers, it's the reseller who wants to just sell a machine that works, to admit it works. But it was very important for us to find a way to do it and still stay a software company. So we were able to structure agreements with our distributors where what the VAR buys is an appliance. Then the distributor buys the hardware from one side and the software from another side. So we sell just the software. So the experience from the VAR and from the customers, they buy an appliance. The experience from the Scality company books is that we're still a software company, which is really important if we're thinking about the stock market one day. For now, the appliance has three sizes: 73 usable terabyte, 168 usable terabyte, and 377 usable terabyte. Obviously, we will introduce more model as we go. We chose them based on what we see in our own customer pipeline for what are the typical sizes. But we can do more. And the appliances are sold based on a 3 and 5 year subscription, very standard. Okay, so we're very proud of our Core 5 technology. We really believe that when you talk about backup security, it has to be beyond immutability. And we think that we are well in advance of the market, especially well in advance of the other offering for the mid-market there. We've worked a lot with Veeam to be incredibly integrated. We all see that hopefully ransomware is targeting more and more entities. Again, I was discussing with some CIOs of hospitals. You've heard a lot about ransomware at hospitals. They said that they don't think that hospitals are targeted more than others, just think that hospitals have invested less in security than others, and this is why they're more broken into. And obviously, to some of the questions, we're not limited to Veeam, and we work with the other backup vendors. And eventually, we will work with also non-backup application vendors. This is just where we saw the biggest traction, the fastest, and that's why we're there. And obviously, ARTESCA is the only technology out there that has the Core 5 end-to-end resilience. I'm going to stop there. We're going to check on the demo.
Yep. So hi everyone, I'm Erwan Girard, I'm the CPO at Scality, joined in 2015. So already a nice journey at Scality. I'm going to talk about the ring, and I'm going to talk about the product, but more importantly the strategy, because our customers are buying the ring for a long term, and we'll discuss this in details. The ring, I think you all know, key capabilities, flexible for massive and unpredictable workloads. Jérôme touched base on it. We have customers with thousands of applications running on top of the ring. We have some customers where if the ring doesn't work, the agency will not open. If the ring doesn't work, you cannot sign a mortgage for your house. If the ring doesn't work, the hospital doesn't work. Period. Okay. So that's our everyday challenge. The ring comes with, I would say, state-of-the-art IAM, identity and access management. So how you deal with the user rights, designed for cloud scale and agility. We'll get there. I'll talk about VMware. I'll talk about Cozy for Kubernetes because it's a hot topic right now. Cloud-style economics, and even better, one of the key reasons why the customers are staying on the ring, aside from them wanting the data to stay within their own data centers, is also that the customers working with us are able to be very competitive against the cloud prices. At the end of the day, it's a financial world. If they are not, they are out. Robust object storage support. I mean, Jérôme talked about it. Some customers being with us for the last 9 to 10 years with no service interruption over a variety of hardware generations. Class of service, so we're defining a different various class of services depending on the level of performance, the level of protection that you want on your data. But every customer of ours that is choosing the ring is one day in his professional life facing somebody saying, you haven't understood, cloud is the future. I can do this on AWS. Can you do this?
Cloud is dead.
I can. So we can have a debate on that, but actually it's there for sure. But so every single one who has been choosing Scality Ring to store their data on an object store is facing somebody internally saying, but I can do this on AWS. Can you do this? I can do that on AWS. I have several regions on AWS. Can you do this with the ring? Yes, we can.
I got, in fact, another question, because by the architecture, the ring has a specificity. You need to have as you said, 12 servers or 6 servers or whatever, or at least 3 servers, etc. It means that the upfront of cost looks higher than when you are just 12 VM AWS to S3 or whatever. And how do you tackle this problem to have this upfront cost likely so high?
I think for me, there's two starting points of the market. Either you're a startup and you need a storage and you went on AWS and you were successful, and then now you're ending up with a petabyte on AWS, 2 petabytes, 3 petabytes. At one point in time, your CFO will come to you and will have a discussion with you, especially when you tell him that you don't understand really how to predict your cost infrastructure in terms of cloud. And what we see from our customers is that typically it's linear until somebody finds something very interesting and adds a new feature on the cloud, and then it's exponential, get back in here, and so on and so forth. So the predictability of the cost is difficult. On the other way around, so at one point in time, you will ask yourself the question on whether should I have all my data financially locally or on the cloud. If you are a bigger company already, you had your data centers, you're correct, there's an upfront cost. You have your data center, you have your infrastructure, you are pretty well versed into having this kind of cost discussions between the public cloud and your private cloud, and we are also here to help on this discussion for sure. But indeed, there's an upfront cost. But when talking about 10 petabytes, it's going to be fun. But if you're talking about a few petabytes to start with, the upfront cost is not the problem. The whole data management strategy is more important. Do you want your data to be in the public cloud, or do you want the data to be local? It's really more this
same conversation that you have than more than the upfront cost.
For the ones that are worried about buying a free node, because the ring can start at three servers.
No, but for this, when I said that, for example, you become your partner with HP. Clearly, when you have to buy 3 Alletra, I got you can. It's not the same that when you can be by mouth if you want. That are a lot of options. Yeah, but it's a kind of leasing. Yeah.
This is the step, but to the customers we are having on the ring, which is different on ARTESCA, and so ARTESCA comes into different shapes and start at one node. But the discussions we have on the ring are not on, is it expensive to buy 3 servers? The discussion that we have, and I will show you a few tables, is deal with 100 servers, can deal with 10 petabytes, 50 petabytes, 100 gigabytes. But we can discuss this in a discussion.
They see legitimacy.
Yeah.
That's for MSPs or
yes. So it's legitimacy in the way that whether you are an MSP or whether you are what we call an internal service provider. When we're talking to a bank, for example, they have 6,000 developers, they have thousands of applications running on top of the ring. They have various departments accessing the rings. They are all independent customers to the point of view of our point of contact at Stack. So indeed, having multi-tenancy to have fully segregated, differentiated customers with different accounts, different access keys, secret keys, different roles, different set of users, all of this is built in the ring.
So yes, my second question, you have a multi-tenancy product.
Yeah.
You could act as your cloud provider.
We could. But as Jérôme was saying, we are a software company right now.
So in cloud, you said only service on cloud. You sell hardware, so
that's a question we have, and that's ideas that we have for the future. Indeed, to be honest, competing with our own customers on the ring might not be our best strategy on with regard to our key accounts, but indeed, with regard to ARTESCA. And the need for the need that small customers have with a few tens of terabytes
it's be and making it that because data are exploding. So from the SMB market, it's very expensive to have a ring. You could have directly an offer for SMBs if you were.
Yeah, I think our carrier, our customers, MSPs are doing this very well.
So it's not your goal to have a more open.
Would you consider forging the ring to the public clouds to provide consistent services?
So today the ring is the data engine of a lot of public clouds already. Now, if you're talking about running the ring on AWS,
we have some clouds running ARTESCA, for example, in the context of ARTESCA being the best storage, the most immutable storage for programmable backup. And in this case, indeed, even though they already have an S3 offering, having an ARTESCA offering makes sense. The ring is really the core of the data infrastructure of the MSPs. So going to an MSP and say, we want to run the ring on your premise, it doesn't really make strategic sense with regard to what they are doing and what we are doing as a product. All right, multi-tenancy, we talked about it. I'm going to go through this a little bit rapidly because you know this already. So multi-tenancy, having different corporations, whether they are external or internal to our customers, is key to the ring, and it's one of the foundation of the ring. Now, this storage is meant to be consumed by various applications, various customers of our customers. But indeed, we are only one part of the cloud infrastructure. The other part is the compute and the network. The compute, you have today, VMware did a really good job on the compute side of the cloud, and being able to integrate in this environment with the VMware vCloud Director is key. So we have a plugin so that the ring can be consumed by VM applications from VMware. But as Jérôme was pointing to, there was a little bit of an event on the market with the VMware being acquired by Broadcom. So we do see a lot of interest from the market to get a replacement technology from VMware and to go into Kubernetes. So having, and here we're using Cozy as a term, but it's really having a driver, a plugin, so that you can orchestrate the consumptions of object storage from the Kubernetes environment is key to us, and it's something coming together with the ring. So that the ring can be once set up at our customers, consumed either from the VMware environment or the Kubernetes environment. All right, we're talking ring, we're talking exabyte scale storage. And I want to really spend 5 minutes on that, among the 7 that are remaining to me.
No, it's okay, you've got more time, because we started late.
Thank you very much. I want to really laser focus on what scalability means. If you talk to somebody doing storage, this person will tell you they can scale to the infinity. All right, sure, let's go. So, but what does this mean? Indeed, it means scaling from terabytes to petabytes to exabytes. Sure, that's one thing. But we do this always on. Okay, we do this always online. The expansion, the upgrades is online. You don't have to do a forklift upgrade. You don't have to stop on service. You know, can we ask our customers acting as MSP to stop the service because we are doing an upgrade or an expansion? No way. Okay, so we do this, and it's key, and it's the very first thing, but it's only the first thing. The second thing is that our customers don't really know what their customers are doing with our product or with their product. Some of them are having a lot of buckets with a few objects. Some of them has tens of billions of objects per bucket. Tens of billions of objects per bucket. If I want to compare to the file world, a good practice on file is to put 30K, 50K files within a directory, no more. Okay, so within the equivalent of a bucket, no more. If you want to be extreme, you're going to put 100K files, and then the listings are there. Okay? Then you need to have a database on the side to know where your files are. Here we're talking about several customers having several tens of billions of objects per bucket, and we scale with regard to that, and we work on our metadata format so that indeed a listing of the bucket still takes seconds and not 2 centuries when you get at 20 billions of objects per bucket. Some customers have one big bucket. Some customers of ours have 35 million buckets. So we have a customer having 35 million buckets. It's not best practice. We would recommend to have a few tens of thousands of buckets typically, as AWS would do. But we have a customer having 35 million, and guess what? He's talking about going to 150 million. So we deal with that. Okay, that's our everyday challenge. Data access from a few thousands to millions of users. We are serving something like 800 million users worldwide, all aggregated. So we do have customers with millions of users. Okay, so we have also a customer with 2 times 80 petabyte with one application. So it's one user. It's good.
But we have also others. While we do this, we need to keep the latencies. So as Jérôme was saying, Object Store was not really known for performance, but actually in a lot of our market, in the analytics, the fact that we can, in the medical, the fact that we can do parallel API calls across a variety of S3 endpoints does bring overall a very high level of performances.
Excuse me. Yeah. The second point on object storage is the size of metadata versus data. You speak about latency, but what about the way?
Yeah.
When you store data, you have
Metadata.
you have a lot of metadata. So, if you what's the second criticism of data?
So I would say in one word, we don't have that problem. So today, the way we dimension the metadata, the way we work on the metadata compared to the data of the object, we might have a lot of user metadata, but it's a choice from the user to put some metadata on top of it. But indeed, to your point, we also have a metadata engine. Today, we've seen, and I will cover this here also, but we've seen a boost of the metadata need with the versioning, the object log, the replication, the lifecycle transition that we have, but indeed not to a problematic scale. Today we can scale on the number of metadata clusters to deal with the growth of the metadata.
So you can decouple metadata and data.
Yes.
Yes, they talk.
Exactly. So then it's this point here where
Even in several nodes.
So to your point, when Object Store was introduced, it was a basic get put delete. Okay, so today, yeah, you can still get put delete. You have IAM policies per user. You have bucket policies. You have group policies. You have lifecycle transitions, object log, versioning, a lot of things. So indeed, what we see is that there is something called that we call storage compute, which is a need to also be able to scale the compute toward the complexity of the API calls that are done by the customers of our customers, who again don't really know. Our own customers don't really know what their own customers are doing with the storage they're providing them.
That's what that means.
Exactly, but that's really indeed. So some of them are still using very standard basic get put deletes. Some of them are having some very complex policies. And you know what? Between the IAM policy and the bucket policy, we have to cross-check this to make sure that this user has the right to do this operation on this bucket. So a lot of indeed complexity. So the fact that we are able to decouple, we are able to couple metadata and data on the same servers to be super aggressive in terms of pricing, but we are also able to decouple this to be able to grow the storage and the storage compute in parallel. Streaming from, so latencies are key. Streaming from megabytes to terabytes per second, indeed it's key. And what did I miss? Oh, I missed something that is also interesting: monitoring and logging. When we talk about security, we talk about a lot of logging. When you talk about having a product that serves millions of users over the span of a few years, monitoring is key. Monitoring a 3-node system and monitoring a 200-node system and monitoring a 1,500-node system is not the same. Logs can be counted in petabytes. Okay, just the logs of the operations. All right, so that's what we talk about when we talk about scalability, and this is to Jérôme's introduction point on the ring. We think we have really one of the best technology worldwide on the Object Store, and there's no chance that we are for the 8 years a leader in the Magic Quadrant. How does this work? So a little picture on data and metadata. So this can be on the same servers or on different servers. Here, for the sake of the picture, I have 4 apps. We have customers with more than 1,000 apps. We are down to a complexity where when we do an upgrade at a customer that has thousands of applications, if one is not working, it's a big issue. If one application out of a few thousands is not working following an upgrade, it's an issue. When we are replicating the 80 petabytes from one ring to another ring at the other side of the US, if we are missing one object out of the several tens of billions of objects that we have across 80 petabytes, if we are missing one object in the replication,
it's a P1. It's the end of the world for us. So we work with these standards. Yes.
In the former version of the ring, there was a penalty when you have to rebalance by the rebalancing after that. Do you have work on this kind of issue to have a less penalty on the rebalancing after update? Or
so I'll put it in different words. You can choose on whether you want to have the most instantaneous expansion, adding pods on the rings, or if you want to have the most efficient row to usable ratio. And then indeed we rebalance the data across the ring. There's no real magic formula, somebody that will tell you that you can
and it's not a judgment or whatever, it's just to know.
So you have the choice.
Because when I see the scale, sometimes could be the rebalancing.
Yes, but in this
not immediate.
But to your point, when we are now 15 minutes, I love it. Thank you very much. That's indeed an important point. But when we have a customer going from 10 petabytes to 15 petabytes, for example, so having a 5 petabyte expansion, it's a project of the customer. It's something that we bake into the expansion project with the customer. But indeed, when we are rebalancing the data, indeed we are having a background task running. So you can call this a penalty. It's also something that we bake in the storage computer that we have, so that the level of service that we provide to the customer is not impacted by the rebalancing of the data across the different servers. In this world, it's all a matter of trade-offs.
The trade-off, yeah. No, that's why. But there's always way to improve the trade-off.
Yes, yeah. So this, I could talk for more than 15 minutes on all of these trade-offs we are discussing with customers, but indeed, we took this into account to have to be able to adapt to whatever position the customer have. When we talk about expansions, for example, I'm not even talking about a storage expansion, it's pretty clear. But when we talk about performance and storage compute examples, we can, I was talking about from a few thousands operations per second to millions of operations per second on the bigger rings. We can grow with a guarantee of 50K operations per second. So typically, an S3 data cluster would deliver on 4K object 50K operations per second. 50K might not look super sexy compared to the millions that other people are talking about. They are talking about IOPS. We are talking about end-to-end S3, fully authenticated, fully completed operations. Here you have, it's not an IOP, it's a get from the application. It's an S3 get. Okay, so I want the full file. I want it. You can have as many metadata stuff in parallel as you want. So that's the way also to do the multi-tenancy, to fully segregate the metadata access. And we can scale through this kind of operations. And I will just show you this. These are two answers that we've been doing, and I want to show you the level of scale. So how do we scale to 10 exabytes in full flash? So these are in fact tables we share with customers with how do we work together with which type of servers to go to 10 exabytes in full flash. We had another customer asking for 3 exabytes in hybrid, so flash and HDD. So I'm putting to the I'm putting hybrid here just to show also you that we've been using flash all along. We've been using flash since the beginning of the Ring history. We've been using flash for metadata and drives for data. We can replace the data drives with flash if need be, as quoted in the previous slide. But here also we were still putting on drives for this one. What you can see here is that indeed on the exabyte size, we are recommending to use very high density type of servers from HP or from others, where you can host 80 to 90 drives per servers.
Well, I think the demo is ready.
The demo is ready.
Okay, so yeah, installation is done. So as I was saying, it's very predictable, and I think we are really proud about this type of experience, because you cannot imagine the complexity of the technology we are using behind, and being able to deploy it transparently while I'm drinking coffee. It's really a great achievement in the end. So the system is deployed, and now because you don't really like the CLI operations, we can go directly in the UI. So this was the IP on which I wanted to expose our management UI.
The demo effect is
The Hilton network effect.
No, that's a pretty cool copy.
Yeah, to come make it. I don't like the certificate.
The click button
At the very téléphone qui tombe sur une verre. Mais c'est pas possible, c'est quand même zéro Google choose where you need to go.
Okay, so you are asked to log. Again, you will use a default credential. And then you have to accept the terms and conditions. And obviously to change your password. So I'm going to choose a complex password here for my very first connection. And I'm in, everything is deployed, and the first thing I'm getting while starting ARTESCA is, okay, you deployed ARTESCA for Veeam, so let's help you to configure ARTESCA. And that's what I'm going to do by following this assistance. The click button are not working. Yeah, they are not. Anyway, it's nothing. I can start it at any time actually, so I'm going to start it from here. So it tells me, try me with different options. I can configure my repository as a primary backup for Veeam backup and replication, or I can configure it as a secondary tier for Veeam Office 365. You might know that in a few months, we will also be able to act as a primary tier for Veeam Office 365. I'm asked about, I want some immutable backup? Obviously, I need to enter. I need to enter a bucket name for it, and also to set the capacity I want to reserve for those backups. By doing this, it will create all the configuration I need and all the perfectly secured configuration I need for Veeam to integrate with ARTESCA and to push backup, immutable backup to ARTESCA. So, and here I'm going to be guided about the next step to perform within Veeam. So typically, I need to configure certificates because I want to be sure that when Veeam is talking to ARTESCA, it's talking really to ARTESCA and not to someone else. All of this is documented, so I can download the ARTESCA built-in root certificate, and then I can use the Windows utility to configure the certificate. So what I'm doing is fully documented in the documentation. I have no time to show you all of this, but so I'm choosing the certificates. No, it's computer both. Yeah, and I need to choose computer accounts. But the focus. I roll down maybe. Yeah. Okay.
That's the car. The system that was
And privacy doc. Yeah, thank you. Okay, finish. And then, okay.
That's interesting. And tap, and down.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's a bit difficult here, but I'm going to make it. Okay. Certificate. And then from here, I can
Tab, yeah. And start.
Import the certificate.
What team for? We don't. Team was error in situation, error in live, but quite right. No, not it's supporting.
Great. I direct it. So, you know, deploying Artesca is much more easy than...
Yes.
So I'm going to look for the certificate I just downloaded here.
Useful.
Yes. So I need to choose for all files because it's going to be a temp file, which is here. Okay. I can open it. Shut. Next. Next. Finish. And I'm done. The certificate is important. Okay. So I can come back to my UI and you see that I have several information, all the information I would need to configure a Veeam. So,
And we talked it out a bit.
well, it's going to be very cumbersome. So I'm going to my Veeam console. I can from here add a new backup repository. So I want to add a primary backup repository for Veeam. So it's still F3 compatible. I hope one day they will put the Artesca name in there. I give it a name.
Yes.
Next, so the service endpoint, I should be able to copy it directly from here, but because of the
Regular.
the kickoff, yeah. So I okay. Let's go. F3 communication. No, okay.
No, there's nothing. The secret key will be a little difficult.
Communications. .com. Okay, then I can add the credential for this new repository. So my credentials are here.
Now, it's not easy because it's
Okay, it's like a few centimeters up, so I need to deal with that. Okay, my access key, and then my secret key.
Should be here. No, the second by sure. You have to show something.
No. I have actually I'm looking for the copy button, which is here. Yes. I don't have to show it, so it's also a best security practice not to show it here anytime. Okay, and then I can click OK.
It's done.
Okay. That's it. So I can go to the next step. I'm using the direct mode. I don't need any other type of infrastructure. I can browse for the bucket. I see my primary bucket being here. You see that no warning is displayed because of the certificates as it was already imported. I need to choose the folder. Okay. New folder. Let's call Veeam. Okay, I'm done. Okay, let's try to configure it. And here it tells me that no, you can't do that, sir, because actually you configured an immutable backup on Artesca. So you cannot do mistakes actually. You have help from everywhere. So I need to select this thing to make the backup. To make the backup immutable. Space, I guess. What?
Space bar.
The space bar. Ah, you see? Oh, yeah. Thanks very much.
Next. This is old school.
Okay, next. And everything is going to be configured in a few minutes. It would have been faster with a walking keyboard. But still, at the end, you get functioning primary backup repository displayed in your Veeam console. Plus, it's blue, meaning that it's fully integrated with the latest feature of Veeam, and you can start pushing and offload your primary backup directly to Artesca. Sorry.
Very good.
Thank you very much for the demo with the real demo effect. It's a real live demo, sensible demo on this. So it's just going to be a teaser because we don't have time. I wanted to talk about the 10-year vision and what drives our vision. I need a little bit more time than what I need. I will just tell you two things. We are talking about a 10-year vision because this is what our customers are expecting from us. Our customers are must report to the management how they're going to conserve the live data that they have for a business for the coming 5 years. It's a bare minimum. 10 years, it's again a bare minimum, but more typically 15, 25 to 50 years. Banks and hospitals are more than 25 to 50 years. We have a lot of medical, insurance, bank, government agencies. So having the discussion with them on how we keep the data alive and accessible for the coming 25 to 50 years is key to our customers. We are able, and I'm super vocal on that, to link a 10-year vision to a one-day ticket for our developers. So at the end of the day, we are a software editor. The core of the work is done by software developers, and we know how to relate our 10-year product lifecycle to a one-day ticket through our development process. I can talk at length on that. I will just show you this as our product lifecycle for the coming 10 years. And just to finish, this is what is driving our vision. This data location access is pretty standard. The edge, the core, the public cloud, which by the way, sometimes the public cloud is also the ring for our customers. The data temperature, hot, cold, hot, standard, and cool, and we are there with our products. But also, as Jérôme was mentioning early on, 30% of our engineering is now working close or less close, but still on the security issues, whether it's what we call institutional security or solution security, so security at the platform level, or data security, which is security at the data itself level. I will conclude with that, and maybe just if you know. So I think it's the.
We had more. It just means that we'll have to come back.
Yes, please.
Slide. Very happy about that.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much.